Welcome back to Ghost Pirate Entertainment. I'm your host, Kanan Becker, and today I give you another 10 horror movies that I highly recommend. And with that, let's get to the list.
God bless America.
Civil War is a 2024 dystopian thriller written and directed by Alex Garland. It stars Kirsten Dunst, Wagner Moura, and Kaylee Spaney. A journey across a dystopian future America following a team of military-embedded journalists as they race against time to reach DC before rebel factions descend on the White House.
Every time I survived a war zone, I thought I was sending a warning home. Don't do this. But here we are.
I was very surprised by this film because I am not into politics at all. If anything, I actually avoid them like the plague. I don't want to get into all of that, and especially when it comes to film and entertainment and all of that. And so I went into this expecting it to be just full of, political jargon or really one-sided in its political views or things like that. But that's not the case with this at all. They do a great job of really making it more about the journalists. This is following them and their story and the things they see. And it really doesn't have much to do with politics at all, as weird as that is to say. Like, you could easily take this same situation and these same journalists and basically put them in any other country in the world. And I'm not necessarily saying this is a true blue horror movie, but in a real world sense, the images, the gore, the things you do see, this is horrifying on every level. It is available right now as a rental on YouTube or Prime for like $5. So I definitely think it's worth that if you're looking for something to rent this weekend. But it's exciting, it's thrilling, it's heart-pounding, it's emotional. It really is an amazing movie, and one that I highly recommend. Abigail is a 2024 horror movie. Directed by Matt Bettinelli-Open and Tyler Gillette. It stars Alicia Ware, Melissa Barrera, and Catherine Newton. After a group of criminals kidnap the ballerina daughter of a powerful underworld figure, they retreat to an isolated mansion, unaware that they are locked inside with no ordinary little girl.
I pinky promise you, it'll all be over soon.
Joey,
Yeah.
I'm sorry about what's gonna happen to you.
This is such a fun movie. I had to mention it this week just to let everybody know that it's available right now to stream on Peacock, because last time I talked about this, it was still a rental. And so if you're one of those out there that have yet to check this out because you're waiting for it to stream, well, now it's on Peacock. You do still have to have a Peacock subscription. But I think this movie is just so much fun. It's so well acted. It's well shot. The entire set and design and look of it is so stylish and creative. It's done by the same group of filmmakers, Radio Silence, that did the last two Scream movies as well as Ready or Not. So if you enjoyed Ready or Not, this is very similar in tone and just overall look of it. But it's not anything to take serious. It really is just a fun popcorn kind of watch, but one that I think is definitely worth your time. Sick is a 2022 slasher horror movie, directed by John Hyams and written by Kevin Williamson. It stars Gideon Adlon, Beth Million, and Dylan Sprayberry. Due to the pandemic, Parker and her best friend decide to quarantine at the family lake house alone, or so they think.
This is incredible.
Sick, and it's all ours. The only neighbor is miles away.
This is one of my favorite slasher horror movies from the last few years because it does what I enjoy so much about slashers, where There's a lot of excitement, a lot of intensity, but it has some twists and turns, and there's a mystery element to it as well. And it's written by Kevin Williamson, the same writer that did Scream, and it shows. He has this really enjoyable way of writing dialogue, and there's always just a fun angle and feeling about his movies. So even though they get gory and bloody and violent and all of that, there's a fun element about them all. And I think this deals with the whole pandemic and that time frame so well that, yes, it does take you back a little bit into that world, but it deals with it in a really entertaining way. And it has a lot of twists and turns, especially towards the end, that give it some meat on the bone. Either way, I think it's exciting, entertaining, and a good time, and definitely one to add to your list. This is such a well done movie. And it's really a shame that it's flown under the radar so much, because I think it kind of fits in this strange area where it was called the Indian John Wick. And it's got a little bit of that. I do get the comparisons, but I feel like it's very different because of the tone. And not only that, there's much more of a story to this and a lot more drama movie like John Wick. Yes, it has a lot of exciting, gory, brutal violence, but it also, like I said, has a lot of substance to it, really a lot of meat on the bone. But I think this is one of the best movies so far this year. It isn't exactly horror. There's a few movies on this list that are definitely more thriller than they are horror, but I think most fans of horror / thrillers out there would enjoy this. So if you have yet to see it, I think you should definitely give it a look. The Collector is a 2009 horror movie. Directed by Marcus Dunstan, it stars Josh Stewart, Michael Riley Burke, and Andrea Roth. The story follows a man who, in order to pay a debt, decides to rob a house, only to find out that someone with far more sinister intentions has already broken in. This is such a gritty, uncomfortable, disturbing movie. It is very similar to Saw in a lot of ways, so I understand why a lot of the same people that enjoy the Saw movies would be fans of this. But the big reason I added it on the list this week is not only because I love this movie, and I always recommend it every now and then, but because they finally announced, that the third film is back on and being shot. There was a whole thing with legal stuff, and they started shooting the third. Something went down that we don't know all the details about, but there was a legal problem, and the studio shut it down, and either way, they just stopped shooting it, and it didn't look like it was ever going to get going again. But here we are 4 years later, and they're back on. They're shooting it. This movie is definitely happening from everything I've heard and from the articles that are out there. So that's very exciting, because I just feel like there's so much meat on the bone. This movie is great, but so is the sequel, and I just can't wait to see what they can do next in this world. The Collector is available right now on Prime with a membership. So if you enjoy bloody, intense, Saw type of horror movies, and you've never seen The Collector, you need to do yourself a favor and make it the next thing that you watch. Mandy is a 2018 psychedelic horror movie. Directed by Panos Cosmatos, it stars Nicolas Cage, Andrea Riseborough, and Linus Roche. In the Pacific Northwest in 1983, outsiders Red and Mandy lead a loving and peaceful existence. But their haven is savagely destroyed by a cult led by a sadistic man.
Mandy, I too am a special one. Let us be so very special together.
So in my last video, I talked about Beyond the Black Rainbow, which is another Panos Cosmatos film. This is the one that's more well known, but even this one still is really a hidden gem. Not enough people have seen this. And not as many anyway as I think should, because this movie is amazing. It's beautifully shot, it's creative, artistic. I love the pacing of it. Everything about it just feels refreshing, original, and unique. And Nicolas Cage goes full Nicolas Cage, especially towards the end of this movie, and it's a blast to watch. But this gets bloody, it gets violent, it gets wild, it's trippy and very psychedelic. At the time of recording this, Mandy is available on Shudder. I think it's also over on Tubi, but definitely available on Shudder. But it's an absolutely brilliant horror movie, and one that I highly, highly recommend.
"47 meters down."
47 Meters Down is a 2017 survival horror movie. Directed by Johannes Roberts, it stars Claire Holtland and Mandy Moore. The story follows two sisters who are invited to cage dive while on holiday in Mexico. But when the winch system holding the cage breaks, the cage plummets to the ocean floor, with the two girls trapped inside.
We would like to come back up now.
I'm bringing you back up.
Talk about heart-pounding and intense. It doesn't get more intense, in my opinion, than this movie. I mean, this is like a level 10 of intensity. Just every scene, it seems like they're constantly cranking up the intensity and anxiety of the situation. But I think it's really well performed as well. The look, though, of this movie is what's so cool to me. I mean, it's at the bottom of the ocean, and so it's really dark. There's not a lot you can do with it, but they do a great job of really making it feel like you're stuck down there, and there's this claustrophobic feeling and this idea of not knowing what's around you. But I think this is a fantastic summertime watch. I just really love shark movies and things to do with the ocean this time of year. But especially movies like this where they're on vacation, somewhere tropical in Mexico in this case, and it just is beautiful, it's sunny, it's bright. It just has this summertime feel to it. And 47 Meters Down is available right now to stream on Tubi. But this is an exciting, intense, absolute thrill ride, and one you should definitely check out.
What do you want?
Mirrors is a 2008 supernatural horror movie. Directed by Alexandra Aja, it stars Kiefer Sutherland, Paula Patton, and Amy Smart. It's about a man who guards a partially destroyed property, but begins to see strange images in mirrors. And after his sister is killed, he's convinced that evil forces are out to get him.
I don't want to die.
I just need to know how he died.
This is such an overlooked, really well done, creepy, supernatural movie. It's really surprising to me how little I've heard this talked about over the years, because the performance alone of Kiefer Sutherland makes this worth seeing. But it is creepy, and the ideas presented in this, I love the way it uses mirrors, and it connects supernatural stuff. I think it's creative, original, and very fun. But I also think it's a great popcorn kind of horror movie. It isn't super deep, but there's enough of a story that keeps you invested. But if you're looking for a spooky, atmospheric, supernatural good time, this is definitely a good choice.
I've got so much power to give you. All you have to do is beg.
Lord of Illusions is a 1995 neo-noir supernatural horror movie, written and directed by Clive Barker. It stars Scott Bakula, Kevin O'Connor, and Famke Janssen. The story focuses on a private eye who has several experiences with the supernatural, embarking on an investigation involving a stage illusionist and a cult led by a powerful, evil sorcerer.
Nix is dead and buried. What the hell is wrong with you people?
Haven't you seen enough to know that doesn't matter?
This is another one that I have always thought over the years is criminally underrated, especially when it comes to the Clive Barker projects. Everybody talks about a lot of his other movies, but not this one, and I don't understand why. This looks incredible. It's well shot, well directed. It has this really creepy, mystical feeling, but also a neo-noir mystery crime element to it as well. It feels fresh and original. There's a lot of creative elements in it, and even the CGI, as dated as it is, it looks cool and creepy in some weird way. But it's full of twists and turns and keeps you guessing the entire time. But it's just one of my favorite movies, so every now and then I just gotta add it to one of my lists to just hopefully get even one more person to check this movie out. So if you've never seen this, I think it's an absolute must-see for any fan of horror.
I'll never fall, Mom, okay?
Love Lies Bleeding is a 2024 romantic action thriller. Directed by Rose Glass, it stars Kristen Stewart, Katie O'Brien, and Ed Harris. It's about a gym manager named Lou, who falls for Jackie, a bodybuilder who's passing through town, en route to a competition in Las Vegas.
This here's Jackie.
Hi.
She needs a job. Says she'll do anything.
Yeah, you like guns?
Not really.
What the fuck you doing here then?
So this is not exactly a horror movie, but I think it will surprise you on how horror it does go, especially in a couple scenes, because it gets gory and graphic and just straight up brutal in a couple moments. It's A24, so it's artsy and creative, and it's definitely not gonna be for everyone, but the action is great in it. It's got a mysterious angle. It's definitely a thriller. It's intense. It definitely will keep you on the edge of your seat throughout the entire movie. And the performances by everyone involved in this they're just all next level. I mean, Ed Harris plays this character that it just makes him unrecognizable. Like he's so different, but he's so creepy, plays such a phenomenal villain in it. But it's done by Rose Glass, who did Saint Maud, and once again, that was a movie that wasn't for everyone either, but I'm a big fan of that movie. I think it's a brilliant movie, and this one is as well. It just is the kind of movie that makes you feel dirty and uncomfortable and just disturbed from the beginning to the end. But I think this is so criminally underrated. I just really want to see more people give it a chance. It may not be your thing, and that's okay, but I do think a lot of you guys would be surprised on just how much you enjoy it. So do yourself a favor this weekend, pick one of the movies off of this list, grab your popcorn and your candy, and enjoy! And I want to give a huge, massive, enormous thank you to the Ghost Pirate crew, to you guys over on Patreon, and to the channel members over here. You guys mean so much to me. And if you would like to help support this channel over on Patreon, there's a link down in the description. Or you can become a channel member and help support the channel that way. There's a button right down there that says join. But like always, thank you so much for watching. Please crush that like button. And remember, guys, horror can be fun. And if you enjoyed this, click right here to watch me talk about 10 horror movies over on Shudder that I think you'll enjoy. And I'll see you guys next time.